feel like I should be riding in on my horse. Good morning. Welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Welcome to everyone who will hear this service. Thank you. Whether it be now or later, whether it be live or via technology, you are all welcome here. Today, I'm going to include a slight variation on something I often say when I am up here. We are better, and we are stronger, and we are safer because we are here together. I'm Deborah Roberts, the lead pastoral associate here at MVUU. This congregation is served by the Reverend Matthew Funk Prairie, who will be officially installed as our minister on April 21st. That actually involves a whole weekend of activities, so make sure you save that date. Last week, I asked you to help me thank people who make our service possible every week. I may not remember everything that was said, but here is what stuck in my mind. We thanked the hospitality folks. We thanked Stacy Sosa in RE and the parents who bring their kids to RE, and I would add OWL to that. You'll be hearing more about OWL today. Joel was thanked for being our hymn leader, and I'll add on to that a thank you for your beautiful love songs the last couple of weeks. Our AV crew was recognized, and the pastoral associates were also thanked, and that was not an audience plant. My question today is first whether I missed repeating something that we heard last week, and secondly, whether there is anything you would like to add this week. Chris is going to be on the microphone if anybody has anything to add. Thanking people.
Is there anybody that we've been talking about, that we've been thanking, that has not been properly thanked? Thank you. I also wish to thank all the wonderful people who take part in music, not just Joel, but the wonderful choir, Dan, Roy, Charlie, all the people who come and play at different times and different events. And I'm just going to say, because the thing's still echoing in my head, a huge thank you to everybody who took part in the musicale now 8 days ago. So I saw a hand back up over here, and then I'll come over and grab you just a second.
Hobie was thanked last week for his project managing of the musical fundraiser, and we forgot to thank him this morning.
Thank you. How could I miss that? Catalina, did you have?
I'm not really sure how to put this, but I want to thank all the people who have been here for the longest time, since Cromwell, and all of the moves, and all of the old friends that I've hooked back up with, and all of the old folks who realize that we don't need to volunteer anymore. It's about time, you know? And it's really funny how well they're getting at saying no. So, yeah, the old folks.
Thank you. Joel has one more, Chris?
To have the luxury to be able to say no and not feel obligated, that's a wonderful thing to be grateful for.
Yeah, I would like to thank the people who show up to do prep in the kitchen before the service and who help me clean up afterwards. And for the mysterious dishes that appear on the table in there, ready to go. And sometimes the people who actually bring them in, and I know who they are. So thanks very much for contributing.
Thank you. I'd like to add something, as I usually do. I have been to some really extraordinary events, had some really extraordinary experiences at MVUU over the last month or so. I think of a couple of things that were offered through Mesquite Madness, the Super Bowl party, which has a special meaning for me, for us. I think of the tapas event that was held on Friday in the church with the guitar concert that was just extraordinary. And again, I come back to the music night. So thank you to the people who make those kind of events possible. Today is the last Sunday in February and consequently our last exploration of our liturgical theme for this month, which is love. We have talked about different aspects of love this month, and today's topic is love and the body, or love and tenderness. In my introduction last week, I said that coming to church offers a respite from the vitriol that is all too present in public discourse these days, as well as safety in a world that can be pretty scary. Sometimes that scariness can intrude on what we consider to be a safe environment, and you'll be hearing much more about that from Reverend Matthew today. He will ask you to consider what community truly means, and to think about the power of being part of a community that is based on love. He will explore how our community can be stronger when we share and when we truly live out our UU values, and how that can contribute to our growth, well-being, and safety. So we light the chalice today. In the light of this chalice, we gather as a community, seeking safety in each other's care. May this flame remind us of the warmth and protection found in our shared bonds. As we join together, may we create a space where all are valued and where love and understanding flourish. May this light guide us in building a world where everyone feels supported, embraced, and loved.
Wait, you want to go over here? There's always this. Throughout our week, there are particular joys and sorrows that touch our individual lives. Throughout our week, there are sorrows when microphones don't start on time. Thank you. There are joys, there are sorrows, and these always touch our lives. As we gather here once again, we honor these within and among us in our ritual of joys and sorrows. Pouring water. We have collected as a congregation that we have found in our Sonoran desert. These are the bonds that connect our faith community.
I bring joys and sorrows from Elena Wyatt. Elena brings the joy that spring has arrived, and her son Saeed recently had a college admissions interview with an alum from Princeton. Also, she shares sorrows that her father-in-law passed away in January. The security situation in Palestine prevented her ex from attending the funeral, and she fears he may become more irritable as a result. Her own father, who is 93, has started to decline over the past few weeks. And her cousin's granddaughter, who had a liver transplant last year, is being treated for post-transplant cancer. Fortunately, there is an 80 to 90% chance that this treatment will go well. Please keep Elena in your thoughts and prayers as she supports her son, Saeed, her father, her cousin, while at the same time apartment hunting and keeping up her job as a clinical therapist. Elliot Rubenstein has lost the constant daily companionship of his wife, Sue, who is dealing with health conditions at a local healthcare facility. He's lonely and would especially appreciate dining and talking with someone from MVUU once a week during this time. If this interests you, please contact him and arrange a dinner date.
for the joys that have been shared, and for the joys that are within our hearts, yet unnamed. And for the sorrows that we know because they have been spoken, sorrows that we know because they weigh down our hearts. Our bonds hold it all, the great heights and the deep depths of our family, of our friends, of our individual lives, renewing and giving us strength to live into our aspirations. Our pastoral care team is adding to our weekly ritual, as Tom has just shared, by listening to your joys and your sorrows that you wish to be shared with everyone. One of our team, and this right now it is Tom, will be collecting and sharing them weekly before we place the stones in our community water. We would love for you to reach out and to connect to Tom or any of the team to share your joys or your sorrows. Our opening hymn is number 360, Here We Have Gathered. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join your voices together. The words will be projected and Joel will be leading us.
Here have we gathered side by side, circle of kinship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find a kindly word. May all who speak here feel they have been heard. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Here we have gathered, called to celebrate days of our lifetime, matters small and great. We of all ages, women, children, men, infants and sages, learning what we can. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Life has its battles, sorrows and regrets, but in the shadows let us not forget. We who now gather know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us as we give, we gain. Sing now in friendship this our heart's own song.
Is this on? So I'm Grace Yelland. I'm usually squirreled away in the kids' room, the RE room, which is my element. I just love being around the children. And I'm one of the OWL instructors for the grades 7 to 9. So Reverend Matthew has invited me to invite you to join me in a time of contemplation. Our services this month in OWL have been about love. I'm sorry, not in OWL, here, have been about love. Love for an individual, love for a family, whether it's genetic or not, love for a community, love for our earth. I know that Reverend Matthew has or will have spoken about how love can manifest as justice in public and tenderness in private. So is love two-sided? Are justice and tenderness one and the same? I was asked to contribute to this contemplation because of being an OWL instructor. At first, I hesitated because most of what we've been covering in classes so far has been the hardware about sexuality. We're discussing the circles of sexuality, which encompasses things like gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, sex assigned at birth or gender assigned at birth. We teach in OWL that sexuality encompasses every aspect of our being. In my classes, we haven't exactly touched on love and tenderness, but we are stressing respect, knowledge, acceptance, and compassion. There you go, justice and tenderness. In our last workshop, we read 2 passages that really resonated with me for our UU values. This was part of the workshop that dealt with differences in sexual identity, who we love, how we present ourselves. And while the lesson was on sexuality, I think the readings have relevance everywhere. So I'm going to quote from the OWL instructor book. This reading was called Different Drums and Different Drummers. If I feel different from you, if my emotion is less than or more than yours, if I do not act like you think I should, do not ask me to feel like you or judge me as wrong. You will understand me better when you are willing to stop trying to change me into a copy of you. And the second reading, beloved community is formed not by the eradication of difference, but by its celebration and affirmation, by each of us claiming the identities and cultural legacies that shape who we are and how we live in the world. Justice and tenderness. Thank you.
Ms. Stacy, our coordinator of religious exploration, tells me that we have 16 students in the Our Whole Lives OWL program. Yeah, I agree. This is exciting because we don't have 16 kids registered for Sunday morning. And that means that our reach is out into our community through word of mouth and through some advertising, through our presence at the Pride Fest. We were able to communicate that we were offering this comprehensive, age-based, factual sex and sexuality curriculum, and they've come. I'm grateful to Grace, to all the teachers, to Miss Stacy, but to this congregation, because you have embraced this program and begun to embrace our broader community. Thank you. What's in the wishing well? Well, it's the last time the wishing well is going to be with us for some time. And yesterday, our board of directors and our 3 staff members and I met with Reverend Christine Dance to take the wishes you've made for our congregation and together imagine a future of community themes for tomorrow. You might recall that starting way back on the first Sunday of 2024, we have been inviting you to make wishes here and online in healthy areas of congregational life, in numbers and in faith development, in structural flow and in outreach. You've responded generously, dropping over 180 wishes into the well. And so we've responded in kind, reading each of those wishes, discussing and deliberating and voting and converging what you've wished for into 5 themes. And so coming out of our wishing well are these themes for our tomorrow. More staff and programming. Building a warm, connected community. Inclusive exploration of other faiths and cultures. Paths to involvement and leadership. And exploring how to do outreach. These are all going to be the focus of our attention next month during our stewardship campaign. And so in small groups and through one-to-one contacts, you'll be able to reflect back on these themes. And you'll have your thoughts and your feelings recorded. And we then, the board and the staff, will make plans for tomorrow based on our community engagement, love, and our transformation for the future. Thank you for offering all of your wishes, and thank you for what you're going to be offering to all of us this next month. From Reverend Bethany, minister, and Wendy, president of the UU Church of Tucson, our sibling congregation from earlier this month. Dearest UUCT congregation, we write you in the spirit of transparency and with a desire to build more community safety for our congregation and staff. This past week, starting on Valentine's Day, a national right-wing media organization posted a video to their social media pages, which included video recordings of volunteers with No More Deaths, our ministry partner. This video named the UU Church of Tucson as associated with No More Deaths and displayed a picture and the full name of our congregational administrator, Mary Weiss. The video that also contained Mary's voice recorded without her consent. Soon after this video was posted, people unknown to the congregation posted negative and discriminatory comments on our congregation's Facebook and Instagram pages. That same day, two of our staff, Mary Weiss and the Reverend Bethany Russell Lowe, received dozens of negative emails, phone calls, and voicemails. We have already taken immediate steps to create more safety for our congregation this coming Sunday, which was last Sunday, February 18th. Additionally, our safety team has an upcoming meeting next week where we will discuss protocols going forward to increase community safety on our campus. We are empowering our staff to take measures to assure the continued safety of themselves and their families. This may include working off campus more often in the coming weeks, among other things. Your Board of Trustees and Minister are working closely with our allies and partners across the state and in Tucson to monitor the response to this video and its impacts on our community and no more deaths. The negative attention we received this week is a direct result of our long-time support of No More Deaths, for whom our UU Church of Tucson has been the fiscal sponsor since 2008. No More Deaths' mission is to prevent death and disappearance in the Sonoran Desert. We at the UU Church of Tucson support this organization because their values are aligned with our own values. We believe that all people deserve food, water, safety, and life. We believe that all people are worthy and deserve to be treated with dignity. And we hold fast to these values this week. With faith, Reverend Bethany Russell Lowell and Wendy Gordon Weeks, minister and president of the UU Church of Tucson. How are you? How are you doing after hearing this kind of information? Hearing about attacks on churches today, natural reactions range from deep care and concern, reaching out to the UU Church of Tucson to alarm for our congregation's safety, to fear for yourself, the safety of your own body. How are you? I invite you now to a time of meditation, of breath, and awareness of all of the feelings in your body and here among us. Breathe deeply as your body needs. And locate where your attention is at this moment. Thoughts, emotions, senses. Concern and care. Alarm or compassion. Grief or fear, love and trust. Breathe deeply as your body needs. And allow these feelings in you and among us. I invite you with your left hand, your heart hand, to touch your index finger to the tip of your thumb so that you form a circle. And relax your hand into that shape. Feel the point of connection between finger and thumb. Is it light? So light you maybe can't even feel it? Perhaps it's much heavier, a pinch pressing the pads together. Or something in between. Feel your point of connection as you breathe and give it your attention. Zen Buddhism teaches the Enzo, a circle of ink crafted in a single brush stroke. I have been taught it is both perfect and imperfect. It's the entire universe and the soul of the artist. Your hand is the Enzo. The circle of thumb and forefinger is your embodiment, your perfection, imperfection, the universe, your soul. I invite you to take your other hand and just trace the circle. Feel your skin and your warmth, air. Unending love. What has your attention now? In your body, sensations of warmth or discomfort. Can you hold those internal sensations within your Enzo? Can you feel all what is inside and have it right here in your hand? If you have painful sensations, allow for them, but don't dwell upon them. Entrust them to the point of connection, the entrance to your circle. As you are connected to a circle of all that there is, a circle of Unitarian Universalists across the globe, a circle of the Baja Four congregations in southern Arizona. A circle of this faith community. No matter when or where you are, a circle of wholeness. Whenever you feel distress, create the Enzo. Trace it with your finger. Return to the circle. If you feel warmth, bring it but also to your point of contact and have it be a part of our circle. And breathe. Know that in body and soul you are held in a circle of love. Breathe and know that it is so. Safety, reimagining, possibility, resilience. These are the themes, the backbone of this year's 30 Days of Love. And each of the offerings extends to us an opportunity to hone our ability to pause and listen and receive, even as the world around us continues its frenetic hum. Words by the Reverend Ashley Horan, who's the UUA Vice President of Programs and Ministry. Our 30 Days of Love program stretches from Martin Luther King Day to Valentine's Day and offers us programming, worship materials, and justice opportunities for all the great circle of our congregations in the United States and abroad. Our prayer that we're about to hear is from the Reverend Mitra. Reverend Mitra was serving our congregation in Long Beach, California, when I first met her. She and I learned that we share a birthday, February 6th, and so we've stayed in touch all of these years.
Hello, I'm Mitra Ranama. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a consulting minister working with our Grosse Pointe, Michigan congregation. I'm a light brown-skinned Persian large woman with brown eyes and shoulder-length gray hair. And it's an honor to offer a prayer of resilience for these intentional days of justice-seeking love. Let us take a collective breath and let us direct our prayer to that which is bigger than us, but within us all. This synergy of human energy, a source of possibility. We come before this great power humbled because in truth, we are loved and loving, as well as harmed and harming people. For years, we've been immersed in this cycle of shock and numbness and shock again by neighbors and fellow citizens and leaders and pandemics and political movements that are trying to shrink the circle of an embracing holy love. Therefore, we arrive frayed by the physical, political, and emotional assault on our children, women, the disabled, immigrants, Black, Indigenous, people of color all over the world, frayed by the assault on lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, asexual, intersex, queer people, assaults on our own imperfect democracy. We also arrive before the great powers of the universe grateful for the love that we know, the warmth that we can feel, the joy we can imagine, the people who inspire, the resources we use. We arrive to prayer and we say, thank you. And humbly we ask of ourselves and of each other, of our ancestors, of our faith, of the great holy. We ask to be aligned with what is most true and good in the universe, to be aligned with the universe. We pray that our existence becomes the extension of what is holy. We pray that our bodies widen the circle of society. We pray for resilience. We have to prepare ourselves to receive our prayer. We prepare by making amends, clearing up any nagging discomfort or despair. We prepare by setting aside shame. We cannot afford to have shame slow us down. We prepare by shoring up reserves, keeping focused on that big stuff. We prepare by taking time to rest the mind, allowing ourselves to laugh and play and love. We prepare by strengthening our relationships because trust must exist. We prepare by remembering our values, bringing intentionality alive. We prepare by humbling ourselves, remembering we can't make it better on our own. We prepare so that we can receive the great prayer. The prayer to be aligned with what is most true and good in the universe, to be an extension of what is holy, for our bodies to widen the circles of society. We pray for resilience. May it be so, and amen.
On my birthday earlier this month, scammers started impersonating me online. Starting with a simple phishing phrase, they contacted several of you. Are you at work right now? Are you busy? Can you help me? Scammers then tried to reel in some individuals in our congregation, asking them to purchase hundreds of dollars of gift cards to give to others that I was too busy to go get for myself. Now, some of you may know that I do prefer to give gifts on my birthday, but never like this. And I will not ever ask anything like this of any of you ever. Now, thankfully, several of you contacted me directly using my genuine email account and said, I'd like to help you, but this does seem odd. This doesn't sound quite like you, or Reverend, a scammer's impersonating you. And they alerted me to the problem and prepared me to help others who had already been approached with this scam. Despite this gross attempt to use our generosity and our willingness to help one another against us, together we avoided being taken in. Sadly, that didn't stop any scammers from starting up again this week, sending texts, pretending again to be me, asking again for your help, and trying again to take advantage of our best impulses to help, to give, and to be a community together. Just to be really, really clear, I will not ever ask any of you to ever do anything like this, ever. And I have to tell you, I'm angry that I even have to say that to you. That as your minister, I have to tell you to be wary of messages that appear to come from me. Asking you for your help, asking you for your generosity. So always know it's the best practice to communicate with me directly with a reliable church email or a text or a phone call to my cell if you ever hear someone putting words into my mouth. And after we've connected and it's clear that it's a suspicious message, then report the emails and the texts and block them from your accounts, and I can help you do that. You see, like this, together we create safety. It's frustrating that churches and synagogues and temples and mosques are some of the most targeted organization for these kinds of digital attacks. And I really don't understand why people do this. I mean, I can comprehend it, right? I've read the research and I've seen the reports that there are international criminal enterprises, and they organize what look like call centers. They exploit their own workers, and they carry out these scams 24/7. They capitalize on relationships of trust, like pastor to parishioners, or grandparents to grandchildren, or Nigerian princes who need you to launder a few $1 million for them. That one's fallen out of style. And I don't understand it. Not the impact, not the system, but playing on our best impulses. And I will tell you, I refuse to understand it. I'm not interested in understanding the hearts of human beings whose intention is to actively manipulate our relationships of trust for their personal gain. I'm not going to do it. And that might surprise you. I mean, I often stand right here and I preach about the care and the compassion for others and for strangers. My ministry among you seeks to welcome the views and perspectives that are radically different from those that are familiar to me or to us. And personally, I'm very inspired in my life by Jesus of Nazareth, who taught, love your enemies. But none of that means I must understand what's in the hearts of those who seek to prey upon us, or to sympathize with their motives as they carry out despicable, detestable actions upon our faith community. They're trying to prey upon us, and I won't have anything to do with it. Instead, as your minister, I must know what we do in preparation, how we respond when the attacks come, and what to do to repair the damage that they cause. And even though what's happened here at MVUU is much less concerning than the digital attacks on the UU Church of Tucson, there's a parallel. As you've heard, starting the week of Valentine's Day, UUCT, the UU Church of Tucson over on 22nd Street, has been the focus of authoritarian, fascist digital attacks. I'm not pulling that punch. As you have heard, they posted on right-wing media site that reaches nearly 2 million people, and it focused on the life-saving work of No More Deaths with disparaging and derogatory reporting. And their church's administrator, Mary, was specifically targeted. Now, while intimidating, no harassment or threats were made in these reports, and we know that reports like these are intended to instigate much more negative responses from the millions of people that they reach. Reports like these are made so that individuals who read them will follow up with emails and texts and voicemail attacks to deepen the intimidation and maybe even incite more. So that website that made the report can always say, well, we didn't mean for there to be harassment or threats or violence. And yet that's exactly what's happened. Reverend Bethany, Mary, Brian, Jamili, people you may know from the Zoom worship services we put together during the pandemic, and others at the UU Church of Tucson have been the focus of individuals making anonymous digital attacks against them personally. And it's continuing. Last Wednesday, I attended the safety committee meeting that was mentioned in the letter with Reverend Bethany and her staff and leaders there on their campus, and they reported that the harassment hasn't stopped. Information from the church website is being published in right-wing chats. Zoom meetings that they are having with No More Deaths are being recorded and reposted, and harassing emails and voicemails continue. UUCT's relationship with No More Deaths is over a decade old. There's already been some preparation then, work on the church's digital presence, security around their campus. And there is a growing response of connecting with sibling congregations, with other churches of different faiths, and with organizations who have been similarly targeted. In this and through all of this, I witnessed and experienced a growing sense of safety. And it was beautiful. In the midst of ongoing, unwanted attacks, holding their emotions of fear and anger and confusion, they welcomed me among them and shared with me safety. Safety that is different than seeking protection. Protection, which is a normal human reaction when attacks are made. Protection that shuts down a digital presence and locks down a building. And I'm not being critical of those faith traditions that need to do that. But sadly, this results in shutting down connections and locking out the broader community. And it brings isolation. And that makes it a lot easier to harass and intimidate and threaten a congregation. Safety instead leans into connections, and it weaves them into a new and stronger community. It creates congregational safety by living into the interdependence that we share rather than the isolation that intimidation and threats are seeking. And safety is generative. It addresses the reality of social and digital and physical attacks by building trust, sharing information, and creating new ideas and new programs. And so just since last Wednesday, the Baja Four has been inspired to line up 3 programs for Unitarian Universalists and people of all faiths here in southern Arizona. And we have a slide. Next Saturday, March 1st, congregational leaders and tech people are invited to attend a scrub party at UUCT. We'll bring our laptops and our devices, and we'll learn how to scrub our personal information and unnecessary congregational content off the internet. And then we're going to bring that back here. And we're going to have a scrub party of our own. And you can bring your devices and learn how to take unwanted information off of the internet. Then in April, in an already planned event, we're going to expand it. On April 13th, Dr. Tandela Kidd from Interfaith Community Services will offer mental health first aid certification again at UUCT. Just as CPR helps you assist an individual having a heart attack, mental health first aid helps you to assist someone experiencing a mental health or substance use-related crisis. Our pastoral care teams, our welcomers, our leaders and staff are specifically invited to attend, but it's open to all of you. And then, in May, on the 18th, we will be bringing Safety Dave, a trainer for direct threat and active shooter, here to Mountain Vista. Right here, Safety Dave will train us what to do in that very, very, very small chance that there ever is an active threat here on Sunday mornings. This is how we create safety. This is how we begin to create safety and build community. Already here at MVUU, I've kept our pastoral care team apprised and our board informed of all of the details about this situation the day after it began. And while following the lead of our sibling congregation, we are well aware that here on the Northwest side, there are those who oppose how we live out our Unitarian Universalism at MVUU. Those who might attack us digitally, personally, for our programs like Our Whole Lives, for its comprehensive, factual, age-based curriculum on sex and sexuality. See, we're going to hold fast to those programs, to our values, to our belief in the dignity of all, and that justice is that space between tenderness and the public. It's where we live. And more in response, we are looking to open our own safety team and not shut down and isolate ourselves. In line with the community safety events over the next 3 months, we're creating that safety team. But more immediately, our board has adopted a resolution of shared safety. Whereas Mountain Vista UU, MVUU, is a sibling congregation in the Baja Four, the collaboration of Unitarian Universalist churches of southeastern Arizona. Whereas the Baja Four joins MVUU with the UU Church of Tucson, Sky Island UU, and Borderlands UU in our distinct expressions of our faith tradition as well as our unique needs. Whereas our shared worship religious exploration, community outreach, and celebratory events within the Baja Four have lived deeply into the truth of our motto: we are stronger together. And whereas our southeastern Arizona region is diverse in people and values, some values closely aligned and others distinctly opposed to our faith and practices. Whereas we are called to live out our Unitarian Universalist faith as the Baja Four and as individual congregations, we recognize we will draw attention from those who oppose our values and our practices, and even those who threaten our people. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation does not abide for the expression of opposing values through intimidation or threats to ministers, staff, leaders, members, friends, children, guests of the Baja Four in any way, be it in person, by cell phone, or via social media. MVUU sides with love with our sibling congregations in the Baja Four whenever and however such intimidation and threats arise. MVUU actively responds to our sibling congregations with our presence and our care and our resources in the face of such negative incidents. MVUU lives into our Baja Four motto: we are stronger together. In our ongoing work alongside our sibling congregations, building a network of safety by nurturing our intercongregational relationships, sharing our best practices for in-person, digital, and social media safety, and affirms our faith and values together publicly and continuously. We are safer together. We are safer together. And it's signed by the board and myself. And we want to invite you to join us in signing that resolution. After the service, Robin Bausel, our board secretary, will have copies for you to read. And if you are so resolved, she'll have one copy for all of us to sign together. We'll take that over to UUCT. Because we know that in this frenetic world, there are those that oppose us. It's true. And this year of election, it's going to be more true than ever. We know that there are strategies that will be used to attack and to isolate us, and then inspire others to do us harm. We know it. And we don't need to understand their hearts. We don't need to understand them in order to engage and love and transform, in order to prepare and respond and to heal our world from their attacks. But we must keep our values alive. Because we will not and we cannot allow anyone to intimidate us into becoming something we're not. We are the circle. We are the circle. We are points of interdependent connection, beautiful in our imperfection, stronger together, safer together. We are Unitarian Universalists. And may we be so bold to live out our faith no matter what may come. Our closing song this morning is Love Will Guide Us. I'd like to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join your voices with Joel leading us.
This is a song of celebration and affirmation. Let's hear it. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep inside you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
I'll just come back to what I said at the very beginning. We are better, and we are stronger, and we are safer because we're here together. A few announcements. First of all, UU Jazz. As you leave the sanctuary this morning, you'll find a wooden bowl and a woven basket on a table just outside the doors. The bowl is for our congregation's ongoing ministries and programs, and the woven basket is for our monthly partner. This entire month, we have been collecting your financial gifts for UU Jazz, Arizona's Unitarian Universalist Justice Network. Last week, Reverend Matthew, Reverend Bethany, and Jamili Omar met with UU Jazz's new co-executive directors, the Reverends Sky and Stephanie. In addition to addressing the ongoing situation at the UU Church of Tucson, Reverend Matthew shared ideas he collected from our congregation last week, in particular, addressing gun control in Arizona and creating opportunities to meet and build relationships with our elected officials. If you have other ideas along this line to share with him, he will be meeting with UU Jazz leadership monthly. All your gifts to MVUU or to UU Jazz are gratefully received. Coffee news. MVUU will offer fair trade coffee on the first and third Sundays of the month after the service. We offer Café Justo coffee at $14 a pound, and there is a dark roast, light roast, caffeinated, and non-whole bean and ground. They also offer a half decaf, half caffeine coffee, which I will gladly support if there is a request. Thanks for your continued support. And this comes from Melody Lupke. If you'd like to help the staff, the coffee table, you can talk with her. Tucson Festival of Books is right around the corner. We'll once again have a UU booth coordinating with the Baja 4. This year, Steve Bottorff and Melody Lupke are collecting donated books to give away in addition to offering books on Unitarian topics. Scope out your bookshelves, clean house for donations. We'll collect them here until March 3rd, and there are some white laundry baskets on a table out in the Oasis room for your donations. We also need volunteers for the festival to man the booth on March 9th and 10th. Come and join in. We will be talking to interesting people and handing out books and bookmarks. We'll also have a Beatrix Potter, yes, she was a UU, themed photo cutout which should attract parents with children. Please note that the first sign-up is for Friday, not Thursday. Food for tomorrow. Starting March 3rd, as part of Generosity Month, Ari will be collecting nut butters to donate to interfaith services, peanut butter, almond butter, etc. They're a staple for food in the Interfaith Community Services food banks, much in demand. Please bring your unopened jars of nut butter to the church anytime before March 31st. There will be a place to donate your nut butter at the front of the church or make a monetary donation during fellowship hour. Give generously this month and help us reach our goal of collecting 100 jars. One additional announcement, you may have seen the wheelbarrow out front asking for your donations of rocks that are bigger than a fist, but smaller than your head, in Hobie's immortal words. The purpose of this is to build a labyrinth in the acreage that we own on the south side of our property. And so that's an ongoing effort to collect the rocks, and the labyrinth will be constructed using those. Hobie urges everybody to go take a walk out back. It's a lovely area, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's a lovely day to take a walk out there. As we release our flame today, we come back to a quote that has been used several times during this month. It's from Dr. Cornel West. Never forget that justice is what love looks like in public, just as tenderness is what love feels like in private.
And I can't end service on rodeo weekend any other way but to invite you to stand. Feel free to sing along. If you don't know the lyrics, you can use the Hebrew lyrics. They're very easy. They go like this. La, 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 la. Can you say that? La, la, la. Great, you can sing in Hebrew.